An update now on a disturbing story out of Kenya that we've been following very closely. More than 300 bodies have been found in shallow graves in a forest, and authorities say scores of mass graves are yet to be uncovered. Most of the victims were followers of a controversial pastor who is now in police custody. His followers were allegedly brainwashed into...
Shock has gripped Kenya following the discovery of mass graves linked to a religious cult. Police are investigating Pastor John McKenzie, who's accused of directing his followers to starve themselves to death so they could meet Jesus.
How's it going, everybody? So we have a Kenyan cult leader, Paul McKenzie, and 29 associates were charged with the murder of 191 children whose bodies were found among hundreds of people buried in a forest. This incident came to light in April 2023 when police discovered shallow graves and emaciated people in the Shakahola Forest. Known as the Shakahola Forest Massacre, and is considered one of the world's worst cult-related disasters in recent history. Prosecutors are saying McKenzie ordered his followers to starve themselves and their children to death so that they can go to heaven before the world ended. This man is a former taxi driver turned pastor, and he was arrested in April of last year, in 2023.
The 50-year-old former taxi driver has been accused of ordering his followers to starve themselves to death. Sources say he told his adherents the world was going to end on April 15 and Satan would rule for 1,000 years. His cult became the focus of national horror with the discovery of more than 100 bodies, mostly children, in mass graves in the Shakahola Forest of southeast Kenya. From court records and interviews with relatives of the victims, medical workers, and a police investigator, Reuters has pieced together a comprehensive picture of McKenzie and his cult.
That autopsies revealed that the majority of the 429 victims had died of hunger, but others, including children, appear to have been strangled, beaten, or suffocated. And with McKenzie and his associates facing murder charges, they all have pleaded not guilty, with McKenzie being accused of telling his followers the end of the world was coming and to meet Jesus, and that they should kill themselves to be first in line to ascend to heaven.
Ticket to salvation, and that salvation was the way to get there. I must warn some viewers that the themes and images in the story could be disturbing.
He called it the wilderness, luring his flock to a remote corner of Kenya. We've come to try and understand how over many months so many could die. In the Shakahola Forest, the dead are still being found. Forensic teams carefully remove the remains of members of a Christian death cult from shallow graves. They've already unearthed more than 300 people, many of them children, many showing signs of starvation.
The government of Kenya and I have instructed the agencies responsible to take up the matter and to get to the root cause and to the bottom of the activities of religious or people who want to use religion to advance weird, unacceptable ideology. Terrorists use religion to advance their heinous acts. People like Mr. McKenzie are using religion to do exactly the same thing.
This cult, Shakahola Forest cult, led by Paul McKenzie, it began in 2003, when McKenzie founded the Good News International Church, initially operating branches in Nairobi and along Kenya's coast. McKenzie gained followers through this apocalyptic preaching and YouTube videos warning against demonic practices. And by 2019, after some legal troubles, he claimed to have closed his church and moved operations to the Shakahola Forest. The cult's activities escalated during the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course it would. Perfect time to instill fear.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus.
Coronavirus.
There are fears a rapidly spreading virus has reached Australia.
This is a rapidly emerging situation where there is not a cause for alarm.
McKenzie convinced followers to join him in the forest, where he demanded they stop eating to meet Jesus. He offered his own farm as a fasting venue and instructed followers to destroy government documents. And from the outside looking in, it seems like people really just believed in this man and were dedicated to not eating. But when autopsy revealed that some of these victims not only died from starvation, but from strangulation, suffocation, and blood trauma as well, it throws all that shit out the window. I mean, it was even confirmed that McKenzie had hired armed enforcers to prevent followers from leaving or breaking their fast.
He ate like a king while his congregation starved. For weeks now, the stories of horror from the Shakahola cult have gripped the nation, and now Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki says forensics have found elaborate meal plans that kept Paul McKenzie alive and well-fed while his followers lay dying just meters away. The controversial preacher also had gangs who supervised the fasting congregation with deadly force. Well, Vincent Odwar.
It is here that Kindiki revealed how Shakahola cult leader McKenzie hired a criminal gang to supervise starvation and murder followers who dared to quit the cult.
Mr. McKenzie had employed armed criminals to supervise starvation, and if any person changed their mind, they will be clobbered to death, strangulated to death, or otherwise killed.
This doesn't sound like a dedicated cult movement. This sounds more like an act of terrorism. And with 191 of them being children, it's one thing to lead these people into the forest, but it's another thing to hold them at gunpoint, take away their food, beat and kill a few of them to follow your cult. I don't know what part of Christianity this cult is a part of or this cult represents, but this is a damn shame. I will be dropping another video or at least an update on what happens to Pastor McKenzie, because to think you can go from a taxi driver to a pastor to a cult leader to be responsible for more than 400 deaths. Guys, you have to be careful about what you're following out here. Hopefully there aren't any more bodies, any more victims to be found. And I hope Pastor McKenzie and his 29 other associates honestly get the death penalty. 400 deaths, 191 of them being children. Yo, let me know what you guys think about this down below. I just wanted to drop a quick video real quick for you guys. Leave a comment, like and subscribe, and be safe, everybody.
The government of Kenya and I have instructed the agencies responsible to take up the matter and to get to the root cause and to the bottom of the activities of religious or people who want to use religion to advance weird, unacceptable ideology. Terrorists use religion to advance their heinous acts. People like Mr. McKenzie are using religion to do exactly the same.